Hey there, my name is Ash T, and on this episode of the Dropouts, I have Vaneza Pitynski, who has an interesting story because she went from actress to digital marketing. So, Vanessa, thank you so much for coming on.
I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to be excited the whole time. Tell me where you're from originally.
So I was born and raised in Whittier, California, which is about 30 minutes east of downtown.
Okay. And what did your parents do?
So my mom worked in corporate America, and then my dad was like house production for Ralph Edwards' Stu Billett. So he did People's Court.
Wow.
So very kind of random.
People's Court?
Yeah.
House production?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so he oversaw basically like the whole estate and, managed calendars, ran errands, managed a team. And then my mom was also kind of in that similar vein for like an investigation firm.
Okay.
Also doing kind of like management.
Safe and stable jobs.
Oh,
I'd
yeah.
say.
Corporate and stable.
Yeah, gotcha. And as a kid, when you saw your parents in these jobs, were you like, I want to do that when I grow up? I want to be a manager.
That's an interesting question because, they had the typical 9 to 5. Right. So they were up at 6 a.m, having their breakfast, going on a walk, getting ready, going to work. They carpooled together. So my mom worked in downtown. My dad worked in Beverly Hills. He would, cutely drop her off, go to his job, pick her up. And, my great-grandparents lived with us, which I was really fortunate about, to have. And they kind of did a lot of the raising, like taking us to school. And my parents were just working and wanting to, like, be established. So I don't think I saw it as something I wanted to do. I don't think it was a concept that, I strived for.
Right. Okay, so what were your dreams when you were thinking about what you wanted to do in life as a kid?
I mean, I loved dressing up and playing, and, there are VHS tapes galore of me performing every Disney song under the sun with my little sister. Like, I was
You knew you
a
wanted
ham.
to be an actress.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
All right. So you got an early acting work, like, how old were you?
So I was 5,
wow.
5 or 6, and it was a really random story and discover situation. But basically what happened is my family and I were in Palm Springs. It was, I want to say, Memorial Day weekend, and we were sitting at a pizza shop. And I have a younger sister. We're 15 months apart. And my grandma, Carmen, loved to always make sure we were dressed as twins. And everywhere we went, we got asked if we were twins. We dressed alike. We had the matching socks, the scrunchie, the bucket hat before bucket hats were cool. And so we got asked if we were twins all the time. And so we were sitting, busy street, we're eating pizza, just hanging out as a family. And this like older woman comes up to my mom and she's like, "Are your daughters twins? I'm in the business." And she hands my mom a card. And my mom, being like Mama Bear, was like, "Please get away from my children." But if you think about it, back in the day, like the Olsens were all the rage. So I think this woman, this talent manager, was seeking out the next Olsen twins, just brunette. And
Hispanic.
And Hispanic, yeah. And so that's kind of how I came to be discovered. And, initially my parents...
Wow, so you were discovered.
Discovered, I guess. Yeah, but initially my parents were really hesitant. My dad had worked in the entertainment industry. He was like, we're not doing this. Like, no. And I was like, let's just meet her. She seems nice. She likes us. So we took a meeting with her, and she was my manager for most of my career.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So what was the first job that you got?
The first job I got was an Oscar Mayer commercial. And then it was a Dr. Pepper commercial. And then it was various commercials and just one-off randoms.
Okay, so this is very interesting because as a kid, when I was 6, I was like, I just want to be on TV, but I'm never going to be able to be an actor, Like, I can't make money from it. But you're actually making bank from commercials as a kid.
I was able to pay off college, which I'm super grateful for.
Oh, you said I was able to pay off the candy store.
I bought a Maserati.
Yeah.
No, I did not. No, absolutely not. But
But you're actively making money as a kid doing something that you love.
Yeah, I mean, and for me,
that's not child labor.
Right? For me, the whole idea of like getting up early, going to like a wardrobe fitting, and then sitting in a chair and someone like doing your makeup and like braiding your hair and putting them in pigtails and like going to play and be with these other kids, like that was fun for me.
Oh yeah, that's a kid's. That's every kid's.
The concept of money was not a thing,
right?
And I think it's mainly because my parents were like, when you book one job, you get one toy. We go to Toys R Us and you get a toy or you get a book, but they were never like, here's your money.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm very fortunate that they were
disciplined.
They were so disciplined. And I think that comes from their corporate America background, that they knew the value of saving, the value of $1, the value of being, you know, financially responsible.
Mm-hmm. And did you book any TV shows while you were a kid?
So I didn't book any TV shows while I was a kid. I was about 9 or 10, and I remember at this point like wanting to be on a TV show. And I remember we'd gone to an audition, and I had told my parents I was sitting in the back of their car because obviously couldn't drive it 9 or 10, and I said, you know, if I don't hit or book anything on this pilot season, I think I kind of want to like go back to being just a kid. I don't want to audition anymore. Like,
wow. How old were you?
I was like about 9 or 10.
9 or 10. Wow.
And my parents were like, this is your dream. Like, whenever you want to stop, we're okay with not driving you all around LA. And I'm so grateful now that I know traffic and driving in LA, like how much they sacrifice just to get from point A to point B and vice versa. And the stress of just freeways and parking and then finding parking. But anyways, so yeah, I told them, I said, you know, if I don't book anything for this pilot season, I think I just want to go back to like school and just hang out. And I booked the Brothers Garcia
wow.
like that season or a season later.
So would you say that's the key to booking something? Just saying, if I don't get this, I'm quitting.
I don't know, but I mean, maybe I should try that now as an adult, like, exactly. You know. But yeah, so the casting process was very long. It felt like almost a year and a half. Like they did a bunch of like false starts. They really wanted to make sure that they cast a family that was like organic and, you know, really resonated with people. And so it was a very long period. I want to say like it was almost like a year and a half. And again, I don't know what concept is time-wise as a 9 or 10-year-old. For all I know, my mom will see this and be like, it was 3 weeks. But I have, I want to say it was like a year and a half until they finally, you know, said you had booked it. Initially, they had said I booked it. Then they were like, no, we're pausing. So I was devastated. So I was like, that's it. I'm going back to school. I'm going back to my life in middle school, elementary school. I don't know. But and then they came back and they were like, okay, we're going to do one more final casting run with everybody. And yeah. And
now you're on a TV show at 9 or 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. How long did that last?
It ran 4 seasons, but technically 5. But the 5th season was a movie. So they turned a bunch of the episodics into like a film.
Okay. So 5 years on the Garcia. And then the movie is over. And then what's next for you?
So I kept auditioning, and nothing was really sticking.
Wow. Like as a series regular, you think, you know, your life is over and you can just book anything for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I mean, I think also, you know, it was like I was going through puberty. So like I was like a little awkward. I mean, you know, like when I tell people like people got to watch the original cast go through puberty. Like I had bucky teeth and I had really bad overplucked eyebrows. Like I don't know why mom didn't hide the tweezers, you know, and I had like an awkward haircut, and like, you know, you got to see the boys on the show, like their voices changed and some of them started growing mustaches. And then one season, you know, we came back and like one of the boys was way taller, and, you know, so like it's a humbling experience when like people get to watch you go through puberty on television. Crazy. But yeah, so I wasn't really booking anything. And at that point, I was entering high school. And I had told my parents, I think now I really want to stop acting. I think that I want to go to homecoming and I want to go to like pep rallies, and, I want to focus on getting into a good college. And, it was also really hard socially because we would film as a kid or as a teenager, we would film 3 weeks and then have 1 week of hiatus. And I was a public school kid for my entire life until college. And so you'd be gone from your friends for 3 weeks, and then I'd go back to school for 1 week. So my social life and fitting in friends and finding your group of people, as a teenager it was an interesting one. It was like a little weird.
But weren't you famous?
I mean, you're always going to have haters, though.
Okay.
And bullies.
Yeah.
But, and also, like, I didn't see myself as famous. To me, I was still going in to do a job, and I got to play pretend, and I got to hang out with my brothers, and we got to ride razor scooters around the set and go to school. And, my parents always said, like, you can keep doing this, but, like, we want your grades to be important. Like, your education is super important, because if this doesn't work out, you need to have something to fall back on, and an education is important.
And how did you feel when you said, if this doesn't work out? Were you like, it's going to work out, parents? Come on.
I mean, I don't know. I was like, whatever, we'll see. But yeah, so at that point I was like, okay, I really, I want to go to the pep rallies and go to my high school and, develop those relationships with friends. And so, yeah, I stopped for a minute.
Wow. You stopped, do the high school thing and the college thing. You applied to college. Where did you go?
Yeah, so I applied to college. I applied to 4 colleges, all in LA, California, because I wanted to remain close to my family. And I knew that I wanted to focus on something in the entertainment industry, something with acting, because I still did love the idea of acting and entertainment and telling stories, which is what so much of acting is. So I got into USC and I studied theater, and still thinking like, maybe I'll go back, maybe I won't. But in the back of my mind, I wanted something a little bit more stable. So I doubled down and I minored in public relations, so communications, with an emphasis on the entertainment industry. So that for me, when I was going out for a job or an internship, I could tell whoever was hiring me, I have the full breadth of knowing what it's like to be an artist and an actor, but I also know how important a team behind the person or the star is. I really wanted that full like 360 story to be told.
Okay. Well, so you went into publicity, it sounds like. Publicity and marketing.
Yeah, so I went into marketing. My first job out of college was being Zoe Saldana's personal assistant,
Wow.
which was amazing. Talk about like...
Still talk to her?
Not often, but like she's just always been a really big supporter, and she's obviously, her career's taken off, which has been amazing to watch. But she was really like a woman's woman, and like a big supporter of like, you got to follow your dreams, you got to be passionate, you got to have a plan. And
what was your dreams at that point?
I mean, I was just excited to be working with someone that was like on the verge of being like a breakout artist, who was super supportive. And her husband had her fiance at the time had a startup company that basically was the IMDb of the fashion world.
Oh, interesting.
So basically you could go and you could type a model and you'd pull up the campaign, and the campaign would be credited with who the stylist was, who the models were, who the photographer was, who the hair and makeup people were. And that's when I started really digging into like the internet and, rest in peace now, but like Twitter and blogging and, Facebook was coming up. And I got an itch for digital marketing and the internet. And from there, I jumped to a couple tech startups doing like Facebook advertising, and, Instagram was coming up and we were running creative on that type of stuff. And then I feel like this is a very long career pathway to whatever is happening now. But from there, I went into the music, music marketing, and I was at 19 Entertainment / Management, and they were the company that did all of the digital marketing for American Idol. So I ran around with contestants for 2 seasons, teaching them how to market themselves via the internet, via like voting via iTunes links and downloads. And then from there, I jumped to Interscope Records, where I did digital marketing for almost 5 years. And I worked with developing acts to emerging acts. So I did digital for Carly Rae Jepsen, Maroon 5, Blackpink, like a ton of really big marquee artists. And then from there, I jumped to BMG, which is another record label where I was basically head of digital for the US. And so I oversaw basically teams in New York, LA, and Nashville. And then that's when I got the call.
But before the call, I want to ask you this. How many years were you in this marketing world?
I mean, over 10.
10 years. So in those 10 years, were you still auditioning for things? Or
No.
No, you were done with acting.
I was done.
Did you miss it?
No.
You didn't miss being on camera or auditioning or nothing?
I did not miss being... My idea of acting was going into a meeting and being like, here's what we need to do. Here are the numbers. Let's go. Let's crush it. That was my idea. I mean, not acting, but like
So
performance.
You found another passion.
Yeah.
As a marketer. Got it.
Yeah.
And you're enjoying your life, but then you get a call. And what was that call for?
So I get a call in 2018 from the creator of the Brothers Garcia. And he says, we want to get the cast together to just do a little like a side video so that, he's like, I promise I'm working on a reboot. We want to get everybody together. And this was summer of 2018. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, I'll drive down to your house. I'll hang out with the cast. I'm excited to see my brothers and my mom and dad. Like, that's going to be awesome. And
was it, yeah, whatever, I don't care about acting, I have this other job? Or was it, yeah, whatever, I don't believe that's going to happen?
Yeah, whatever, I don't believe that's going to happen. Because I that show was such a pivotal part of me growing up that, like, if it happened, like, holy moly, amazing. But if it didn't, wasn't meant to be. So, yeah, whatever, I'll meet you. So we all hang out. Everything's, nobody's skipped a beat. It's like we never apart. It was great. And that was 2018. And he's like, we'll keep in touch. Talk to you later. I was like, adios. And that was that. And I went
back to Interscope.
Back to Interscope. So that was,
okay.
I was still at Interscope at that time. So
yeah.
I was like, back to Interscope. A few of my best friends were like, how was that? And I was like, it's fine. Got to go to a meeting. Bye. Like nothing had happened. And yeah, so that was 2018.
How far were you up the Interscope ladder at this point?
I was senior director. So I had a coordinator, and then I had a roster of just amazing artists that I absolutely loved.
So it's safe to say you're a big deal at this point.
I mean, no, but it was great. It's
Yeah.
I think I was trying to think of like career highlights, like, going on a press tour with Sting and Shaggy for the reggae album, which won a Grammy, and traveling with them all through New York for 4 days. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like I was stoked,
Wow.
and there's just so many random like experiences that like you don't get, that I'm super grateful for. So yeah, so that was 2018. So then, not this summer, but the summer before that, I actually or it was springtime, because we shot in the summer. Springtime, I get an actual call from the creator, and he's like, hey, so it's going. I was like, yeah, whatever, it's going. It's been going. Like, he's like, no, it's actually happening. Like, the reboot is on. We're going to start casting. I'm like, well, where's it going? I had like questions because, I had a career at that point.
Right.
And a great career. Like, I had loved my team. I was building out. I had a ton of responsibility in like hiring people, which was really stressful but exciting.
Touring with Shaggy. I mean, come on.
It was great. So yeah, he goes, it's going, and it's going to HBO Max. And I was like, what? I got to call you back. Like, I took a nice chug of water. I was like, what is happening? Oh my gosh. Like, it's actually going. And yeah. So made the decision to go back and be on the reboot and reprise my role of Lorena.
Okay, now when you say you made the decision to go back, what were the consequences of that decision?
Well, I had to quit my job at BMG.
But this is your new passion, right? At BMG.
Yeah.
It's like something that you really love.
But the thing is, it had been a really rough year and a half to 2 years for everybody. And if not now, then when? And that was an opportunity that I had a lot of deep conversations with mentors, with friends, with my mom and dad who had been so close to the original project. And, you know, they were like, if you don't do this, you're going to regret it. Like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You get to be with people you loved working with as a child. And why not? And, you know. And
why not? You lose what, like a 6-figure salary at BMG?
I did lose a nice, I did. And a corporate card and an expense account. You know, there were a lot of like variables that I obviously had to consider.
Yeah.
But, you know, I remember going to happy hour with a couple of my best friends, and they were like, you're going to have fear of missing out when this comes out and you're not a part of it. And, you know, I called my mom. I was like, what do I do? And she was like, dude, this character is you just dialed up a ton of notches. You'll be fine. You'll figure it out. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I made the decision, and I gave them notice and packed up my stuff in 2 weeks and went to Mexico for almost 4 months.
Were you ever scared to do this?
Oh, beyond. And, you know, I think everything exciting that has ever happened in my life, whether it's a job interview or an audition or having to do a speech in front of people or do a PowerPoint presentation on an artist, like, there's always an ounce of fear. But I think that's like a good thing, because I think if there's not a little bit of fear in what you're doing, then I don't think the payoff is ever going to be that exciting.
Right.
But I was scared. Like, I was on the plane with, you know, Jeffrey, and we were sitting, and the wheels touched down to Mexico, and I look at him and I grab his arm, and he looks at me, and I go, there's no turning back now, is there? And he was like, I don't think so, sis. I was like, okay, well, we're all in this together now, so let's just figure it out.
The next 4 months of your life.
Yeah.
It's going to change.
Yeah.
And so now what's next for you after finishing Brothers Garcia?
So we are, knock on wood, waiting for a season 2. And if that does not happen, I will most likely go back into marketing.
No more acting until the next opportunity comes up.
Yeah, until a next random opportunity comes up that I am just so fortunate to not be able to pass. But, you know, this was, like I said, a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I'm beyond grateful. But this was just, if you would have told me when we wrapped and we got told that we weren't coming back for another season, I never in my life would have thought, literally almost 2 decades to the date, that I would come back and see my mug on HBO Max with child, let alone, and husband, and like a full new addition to the cast.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing that
Yeah.
happened. Took a while for everything to work out, but it sounds like everything went according to plan.
I think so.
All right. Well, do you have any words of wisdom that you want to share with someone thinking that they want to leave their job haphazardly to pursue a dream? Would it be something like, you don't want to regret your life later down the road?
I mean, I don't think it's about regrets. I think I'm such a like OCD, gotta have a plan type person. And, you know, I tend to be super nostalgic, but I tend to really worry about the past, worry about the future. And I think, like, in this moment, my advice is to be present and just go forth and be passionate about it. And I think, you know, another thing that I think is also really important is practicing gratitude and being grateful. And I'm old school, and I think a handwritten thank you note goes a very long way, but so does a text, so does a phone call. You know, when I made the decision, I texted everybody that I had berated to make this decision and just said, thank you for bearing with me. Thank you for playing the options out. And I think, you know, gratitude will go a really long way in any chosen career path.
I love it. In fact, that's how I want to end the podcast. I want to end it on a note of gratitude. Thanks for coming again.
Thanks for having me.